patience to maintain.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Christelle Martinet and I'm here with another installment of Cartomancy 101. Today I'll be talking about kings and queens, and I'm doing this today because I've been forewarned by videos I've seen by friends of mine who dabble in astrology, and the buzz is that these are difficult days, today, tomorrow, next week, the following week. So we should stay under lock and key. We should not go out. And so I thought it probably has to do with many of you feeling that way as well. And so I thought today what better day than to address certain issues between couples. And I'm dealing with couples today, men and women, and so my gay friends will forgive me. But if I can invite them to see themselves in the roles, the female or the male role, as I address these through the kings and queens in the deck. I'm using the Marseille Tarot. I'm looking for the kings and queen, the different pairs. Now, many things come down, many things happen between in couples, and we all know that. I mean, many people who know me, I'm a tango dancer, and I'm a very good dancer. I dance many different dances, but when you're alone on the dance floor, dancing is easy. You cannot make mistakes. When you danced with another person, you can step on their foot. They can step on your feet. It's not pleasant. I've broken a couple of toes. It's difficult. It is difficult to move in harmony, let's put it that way. And the same is with a couple. Living alone has its problems, but there are different types of problems. When you're dealing with another person in your intimate life, you make concessions. And when I mean concessions, so small, large, important concessions, sometimes smaller concessions, but it's always pleasant. And I always say, if you want to come and dance with me on the dance floor, you have to learn how to dance. Or at least you have to learn my steps, and I have to learn your steps, and that's what it's all about. We need to learn about each other. Now, I'm addressing today the issues that people have spoken to me about, have written to me about, and they've asked me, well, how come, they tell me about how the reading has gone afterwards and how things have panned out. And they say, well, yes, this has happened, you were straight right on, this has happened, it worked out just the way you said. And then, however, this did not happen. My husband did in fact have a lover, and they did in fact have a relationship. Okay, now the question arises: why does that come out? Why doesn't it come out in the cards? And why does it come out that he? I'm just using this as an example. Did not. Was it important for that person not to know at that given point in time? Well, it is for many different reasons. It could have many different reasons. One being, for example, if something is to be a surprise, both a negative and a positive surprise, in order for you to take action, it must mean that it must need to be a surprise, and you will not know. And that's one reason. Another reason is, I'll give the example of other card readers that come to me and psychics that I read with. If Christelle Martinet is not a strong personality, doesn't have a strong personality that can stand the influence of both positive and negative energies influencing the reading, things that I see in the reading will be different. We will be swayed one way or another. Of course, having said that, if we sneeze, everything moves in the universe. If we blow our nose, everything moves in the universe. Those are laws of the universe. And So there are reasons, and I try to remind people when I'm reading that this is what I'm seeing. Beware that there's a possibility that, but this is what I'm seeing. Okay, for example, he may be following you. He may be having you followed. Beware of what you're doing. If there's a legal issue involved. Okay. Now that doesn't mean to watch your back, but remember that, for example. Now, also, let me show you these lovely little cards. The men and women here in the readings in this Marseille Tarot. Now, these here in this position, they're not looking at each other, but they have the possibility to look at each other, actually. And not all couples do in these decks, in decks all the time. This is an elderly figure, more sage, more wiser, and so they have different, depending on where they occur on the spread and who they are looking at, this will give you an indication of who they're having a relationship, who they are relating to within a certain question. This is another elderly gentleman here. With the money, he's the Pentacles man, the King of Pentacles, and he's. If I were to give him a voice in this couple here, I would say, "Damn you! You'll never find my money. I have it hidden. You'll never know where it is and how much it is." And she's saying, with this pole, this scepter, threatening him, "Watch out, or I'll take you for every penny you have." Now, I'm saying this in jest, of course, but things like this do happen. And she's a one-eyed queen. She's looking one way, so she's missing a lot of the information. All right, we have to remember that there are things here that she doesn't know. Then there's the King and Queen of Swords. And they too can see each other, just like the other two couples. They do see each other. Of course, they can be in different areas of the spread, but they have the ability to see each other. Now, this man here has something that looks like a dagger. And you can take it to mean anything, but it is a hidden obstacle. And if you're talking about truth, there could be hidden truths depending on what appears here in this area of the spread. And then we have the couple, the Wands couple. And this poor Wands couple, they never look in the same, they will never look at each other. But what is nice about them is that they're looking in the same direction. It has its positive aspects to it. But if we put them this way, he has a wand that we would typically recognize as a wand in cards, and she has something that looks like a bat. And this is a man of passion, man and woman of passion, usually fire signs. She could be very, very threatening. Okay, watch out. I'm watching you. Now, I'm going to take these cards, put them back into the spread, and spread. That's always difficult to talk and think at the same time. I'm going to put them back in and shuffle them, and just mention another thing that we talked about, threats and things like that in couples, and of course it does happen. Many things happen within the confines of not only our bedrooms, but abuse, physical abuse and mental abuse, and they are both serious issues. And what is not often spoken about is mental abuse, and it's so difficult to prove in a court of law. And so my heart goes out to you who are undergoing that, both men and women, because it's on both sides. Women and men both victimize their companions. But we need to remember that nothing happens by chance. Nothing happens by chance, and generally it's for our development and our learning process. Now, let me take the cards and ask some stupid questions and play, and see if we can see what we can see. See what the cards tell us. If I ask a stupid question, for example, I want to know if I am going to be a princess. in this lifetime. If I would be a princess in this lifetime, so I'm qualifying it with time, and that's always difficult. I want to know if I have the opportunity of being a princess. Now the first card is the Three of Wands. Then we have the Eight of Wands, and we have the King of Cups. Now, the Three of Wands that first came out talks about a very strong bond. A very strong bond between two people that is developing. I asked about being a princess, and this alone doesn't tell me if I'm going to be a princess, if that relationship will make me be a princess. So what I have next to that is the Eight of Wands, which denotes very speedy movement and happenings. So I could think, well, something will be happening at least in this lifetime. Something will be happening in this lifetime. And the King of Cups. The King of Cups does augur well. And being an elderly man, it's a person who is mature. So either the card is telling me, come on, Christelle Martinet, ask mature questions. Or it's telling me that, don't worry, you'll have something come into your life that will make you feel like make you feel like you're developing into a princess. Now, let's say I'm on I'm the client in a reading, and I'm not happy with that answer. Of course, I'm only pulling 3 cards, so it is limited, okay? And more or less, they are yes or no questions, okay? And I say, let's look if the person that the Three of Wands is talking about, if I know them, if it's a person that I know, or if it's a person that is coming into my life, that is new. Sorry that my ring is making so much noise. I have the Seven of Cups. We have the High Priestess and the Six of Pentacles. Now, the Six of Pentacles is usually denotes time, the present time, and here too, the Seven of Cups. The Seven of Cups is, of course, comes after the Six of Cups, and the Six of Cups does tell us that it's someone that you know. The Seven of Cups is indicating to me here with this card that it is a person that you know, that perhaps you've not had a relationship with, or at least not a relationship in the classical sense. But this is something that is occurring in the now. And here we have this such an important spiritual card, this High Priestess, that talks about the person, because the question was dealing with the person. I'm going to venture and say, and bear with me as I explain this, that the Queen, the High Priestess is telling Christelle, don't think about time. Time is not of the essence. That it is always a now, in terms of you're becoming a princess with this person, and it is always developing, and it is a highly spiritual relationship. It's an extremely important relationship. And the cards also mention that it is a tangible relationship. It is not only in your mind. Now, let's say that Christelle Martinet, and by the way, of course, you know, the question often arises, can you read for yourself? There's, I wish I could. There's a limit to what I can do to myself. I can understand if things are going in a certain way or in another way. I can understand if it will, positive, negative, but it's very difficult for me to understand details. All right, so this is just by way of example that I'm showing you. Okay, so let's say that Christelle Martinet is not happy with that answer, and she says, she asks, Well, let me say, I want to know about Mr. X. Mr. X is an important man in my life. I want to know if it's him. He's the man I always think about. He's the man that seems to be in my path, and I'm going to use some of the language that people who come to me say. I am sure that this is the person, it's a karmic relationship. This is a person who was brought to me from the universe, and this is a person that is important to me. Let me see if it is that person that we're talking about. Well, we have this 2 of Cups, and we have the 10 of Cups, the cups, the cups, the cups, and we've got this charging chariot, the CC, charging chariot. Now, the 2 of Cups, excuse me, so excited with this answer. The 2 of Cups is telling us that, yes, it is a person with whom you've had something to do in the past. The chariot, in terms of a movement card and coming in, I always remind people is, yes, it is a movement card, but this is not moving. This person is in your life already in some form. It's up to you to see and understand in what form. Now, typically the 10 of Cups is the happily ever after card. It doesn't tell me that with that person I'm going to be happily ever after, but it may tell me that the way things stand today and the nature of the relationship as it is today is quite likely to be the way it will be in future. Now, let's say that Christelle Martinet says, I'm sorry, I haven't understood. I haven't understood. Could you please, let's ask once again. Let's ask once again if it is Mr. X. Is Mr. X the person that will bring me on my road to becoming a princess? Okay. And we got the cup, and all of these responses have been with cups. And this alone is an answer in itself. It is, well, let me open the other 2. Just the star, the star, the star, and the our messenger here, our spiritual messenger. Now, this combination is an answer to the effect that it's very highly likely that this is the person in question, that it is a person with whom from the very beginning there was very strong feelings, and to this day you are in their minds always, and the spiritual side to the story is very, very prominent. Let's say that this is an answer that this is the case. Now, I'll leave it at that, and just as our last little pull, because I used the Neapolitans last time, let's say that Christelle Martinet asks the same questions to the Neapolitan cards, and she really wants to become a princess. And let's see what the Neapolitans have to say. The bat on the head, the reader is ready to give it to her. The court cards are out. The court cards are out. All right, we have the king and 2 pages. In this deck, the pages are androgynous. The pages were a female figure, even if they look like males. These are messages, and they're messages telling Christelle, yes, it is that person that you're thinking about, and this person is a mature person now. So watch out, they'll be coming. It was a pleasure, and thank you so much for joining me, and thank you so much for your likes and your shares and your subscriptions. I do appreciate it, and I do appreciate you letting me know how things pan out. Do visit my website, ChristelleMartinet.com. Until we see each other for the next weekly reading. Bye-bye.